Same-day voter registration. It's wonderful that you've decided that you want to vote. If you are not sure if you are legally allowed to vote, watch the video called "Find Out If You Can Vote." If you think you are already registered to vote, you can check on the Minnesota Votes website. There's also a video you can watch about how to use this tool called "Check Your Registration." State law requires that you update your voter registration if you change your name, as well as every time you move, even if it's just from one apartment to another in the same building. If you are not yet registered to vote or need to update your registration, you can do it when you go to vote. Just bring proof of residence with you. First, fill out a Minnesota voter registration application, which is just one page. It has 3 parts. Part 1 is used to gather basic information. The first 2 questions on the application address your eligibility to vote, whether you are a U.S. citizen and 18 years or older. If you answer no to either question, you aren't eligible to vote in Minnesota and you don't need to complete or return the form. For the next questions, you will enter your full name, your address where you live, not a P.O. box, your mailing address if you can't get mail delivered to your home, and date of birth. The shaded fields are required, the white fields are optional. It also asks for, but you are not required to provide, your school district if you know it, the county where you live, your phone number, and your email address. Next, enter the number of your Minnesota driver's license or Minnesota identification card if you have one, and check the first box. If you don't have a Minnesota driver's license or state identification, enter the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. Then check the second box. If you don't have any of these numbers, check the third box. If you have been registered to vote and are updating your information because you've changed your name or moved since the last time you voted, you should complete this registration update section. The third and final part certifies that you meet all the state's voting eligibility criteria. Be sure to read each statement carefully. It says, "I certify that I will be at least 18 years old on Election Day, am a citizen of the United States, will have resided in Minnesota for 20 days immediately preceding Election Day, maintain residence at the address given on the registration form, am not under court-ordered guardianship in which the court order revokes my right to vote, have not been found by a court to be legally incompetent to vote, have the right to vote because if I have been convicted of a felony, my felony sentence has expired, been completed, or I have been discharged from my sentence, and have read and understand this statement that giving false information is a felony punishable by not more than 5 years imprisonment or a fine of not more than $10,000 or both." If you have any questions, ask the election judge. If every statement applies to you, sign your name next to the X and enter the date that you completed the form. Once you've filled out the form, you'll need to show the election judge proof of where you live. There are a lot of different ways to prove where you live. Here's the long list. Choose what works for you. The most common form used is a Minnesota driver's license or a Minnesota state ID card with your current name and address. You can also use a yellow receipt for a Minnesota driver's license, Minnesota state ID card, or learner's permit if it has your current address on it. If your photo ID doesn't include your current name and current address, you can show the election judge both a photo ID and a bill that shows your current address. There are lots of photo IDs and lots of types of bills that you can use. For photo IDs, you can choose from driver's license, state ID card, or learner's permit issued by any state, United States passport, United States military ID or veteran ID card, tribal ID card with the name, signature, and photo, Minnesota University, college, or technical college ID card, or Minnesota high school ID card. For bills, it can either be a paper bill, or if you receive it electronically, you can print it out or show it to the election judge on your phone. It has to show your name and address and be due or dated within 30 days of the election. Your choices are phone, landline, cell, VoIP, etc. TV, cable, satellite, etc. Internet services, solid waste or sewer services, electric, gas, or water, banking or credit card, rent or mortgage payments, or a lease or rent statement that is valid through Election Day, or a current student fee statement. If you live in a residential facility like a nursing home or a battered woman's shelter, an employee of the facility can swear that you live there. If you're a student living in campus housing and the college or university you attend has sent a list of student housing, you can register by showing a valid student ID card that includes your photo and signature. Another option is you can ask another registered voter who knows you and lives in the same precinct to vouch for you. If you moved from one apartment or one house to another and happen to still be in the same precinct and were registered to vote at your old address, and the election judges can find you on the list at your old address, then you don't need to show anything more to prove where you live. Wow, there are a lot of ways that you are allowed to prove where you live. Hopefully you know one that works for you. The election judge will look over your voter registration application and will write down how you proved where you live. The judge will then ask you to write your name and address on a piece of paper called the roster. You will then sign another oath that you are eligible to vote. Once you have done all of this, you will be ready to vote. For more information, go to www.mnvotes.org.